So the narcissist, people might wonder, what's the karma? What's the karma that the narcissists are going to go through? The karma for the narcissist is the narcissistic mortification. We've talked about that in a more recent tape. The karma for the narcissist is the narcissistic mortification. It is the worst fate imaginable. So if you did have empathy for the narcissist, you know, it's a good time to have that locked and sealed, because what basically is happening is when they lose their supply and their primary supplies, at this point they don't have a way to ground themselves anymore. So they don't have a way to feel stable, to feel anchored, to feel in control, to feel balanced, or to feel supported. So it's almost like being in a disorientated, everything starts kind of spinning for them. Everything feels like it's falling down. Everything's happening too fast. And what do I do? And how? You may have been the problem solver, either advertently or inadvertently. You might have been solving problems for them by giving them just some nice advice, a nice tip, like, hey, have you tried this? Or what do you think about that? They can't come up with these ideas on their own. They can't come up with the idea of, oh, I can try this, I can move that around. They can't do that. Without their primary supply, everything starts to come crashing down for them, because you were the one that gave them the stability. You were the one that gave them the comfort, even if you didn't realize it. And having the idea of knowing you were always going to be there as a comfort, as a support system, as an emotional support animal or a blanket, you know, someone that I could always feel safe with you, kind of a vibe. When they lose that, because they don't have the ability to cope on their own, because they don't have the ability to take care of themselves and ground themselves, balance themselves, when they lose that, it's hell on earth for them. Literally. There's nothing there. They've never had to be on their own. They've never had to ground themselves and balance themselves out. You know how when you went through the healing process, how you were able to find little things throughout the day, whether it be, you know, affirmations, drinking your tea, your coffee, working out, like all these different things to balance yourself out. They don't know how to do any of that stuff. And they might try to reach out to people for tips and things like that, but if they do it, they can't do it for more than a short amount of time. They're reckless. They're chaotic. Their thinking is disordered. It's all over the place. And on top of this, they wish to maintain a sense of power and superiority over you, but they can't, because they need to have your energy to ground them and to stabilize them in order to do it. So it becomes like a true parasite. They need you in order to feel grounded, stable, and secure. They need your energy in order to feel stabilized. And without it, all of a sudden, everything is and you might even see some of them crash out. That's not uncommon. All of a sudden they might act out or snap or get aggressive if you're around them. Hopefully you're not around any right now. The key is, what causes narcissistic injury is for you to remove your emotions from the equation. That's all. When you don't care, when you're extremely confident. There was a scene in the movie Color Purple, I think it was, where at the end, because her husband was a narcissist, and at the end she gained her power by speaking up for herself in a confident way and cutting off her emotions that she had, the emotional attachment which came from her father. And when she did that, she was able to see the fear in him and how docile he was and how weak he was, and he needed her. And the goal of them is to be able to leech off of you in a parasitical way, while at the same time ruling over you to feel superior and powerful. But they do it at your expense, which is why it gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse with the narcissist. So, in general, the karma for them is literally losing you. Literally. Now you see why. Because you were the grounding agent. You gave them the stability. You gave them what they needed in order to stay composed, in order to make sense of the world. Without you, without an emotional balance, because they don't have the ability to come up with it on their own from the inside. Since they don't have the ability to come up with it on their own from the inside, when they lose it, their external source of it, everything falls apart. It's a house of cards. So that's all you need to know for right now. Check out my other video on narcissistic injury or narcissistic mortification. I'll talk to you later. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.